Welcome to today's edition of Profit in Your PJs. I'm on a camp, but you all know that. I'm so excited to be here. I am up and running this morning. Today is the middle of the month, and I just want to welcome everybody that's new here. I see we have a lot of new starts coming on the team, and I'm really excited to be one of the first to welcome you to our Neora family. We do this every single week at 7 a.m. Pacific time. And we do record this. It goes up on my YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed there, go and subscribe. It's a great way to get notifications in case you miss it. It's also a great way to share the link with your team if they haven't seen it either. So welcome everybody. Glad to see everybody on here, people from coast to coast and some other countries as well. So welcome everybody. I want to just jump into some quick announcements, and then we're going to get underway with our guest speaker. So let me go ahead and share my screen and kind of go over a couple of quick things that are important, a couple things you may or may not know about, and some new announcements as well. So effective November 1st, please make a note in your calendar. Neora University and the corporate update call will merge into one training. So this will be on Monday nights. I see some big smiles out there. The idea and the philosophy is to really streamline this, making it not only our announcements for the week, the corporate updates. As you guys know, the company is moving quickly. We want everybody to make sure that they are on point and have all of the updates and know what's going on a weekly basis. And then also to give the good training. So awesome training. So instead of having one on Tuesday, one on Monday, it will all be on Monday nights. Same time, recorded just like we know it to be, but it'll be packed a little bit tighter with a lot more information. So we're doing that to make sure everything is streamlined. I love that we're going to have something once a week, and I love that it's at the beginning of the week to get us off and running. So this week on Wednesday evening, and that is at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, so adjust that in your time zone. Live will be a Neora webinar, or if you didn't see Amber's webinar, it is loaded up in Go Prospect. It is amazing. She did an incredible job. Definitely go take a look at it if you haven't seen it. There are new PowerPoint slides for our business opportunity, and you can access that, or your prospects can access this neoralaunch.com just in your web browser. They don't have to go on to Zoom. It will prompt them to download Zoom if they haven't done it. Really easy, super streamlined. But former advertising executive turned entrepreneur, Puya Gandhian, and you guys know he does a great job. Mark your calendars for the following 2 Wednesdays to close out the month. The overview will be done live, same time, same channel, neoralaunch.com/2019, Samantha Wyatt. So this is a great one, former teacher, and works the business as a family now. So this is a good one for your prospects that have any commonality there. And then the last Wednesday of the month, Leslie Hawker. She's a lifetime builder in this industry and a global leader. So she's a great one to have for maybe your business people. Either way, doesn't really matter what your prospect's background is, but you definitely want to get them on these webinars. They'll be awesome. Also, just a reminder, if you almost have to have your head in the sand to not know about this one, but double trip volume this month, earning double points. And you guys, I just have to say, whether you're running for the trip or not, this running for this double trip volume will build your business. And really, that's the ultimate goal here. So take advantage of these promotions. Definitely, I'm watching people, you guys, it is the craziest thing. I'm watching people from only maybe 10,000 in volume, 8,000 in volume, crank it up and get just a few thousand away from the trip. And we'll still have one more month to get there. So congratulations for all of you that have earned the trip. I make that announcement at the beginning of the month, but so many people have earned the trip. So many people have earned now even level 2 on the trip. So really excited. There's still some level 2 spots left, but definitely work toward this because it is an amazing opportunity. So I want to go and stop sharing my screen here And I want to go out to a woman that I have been watching, that I greatly admire, and that somebody who is absolutely crushing it in this business. As a matter of fact, she's not on my team. I sure as heck wish she was, but she is in the entire company of Neora. She is the #1 trip earner in volume. She is the #1 brand partner recruiter, and she is also the #1 preferred customer recruiter in the entire company. It makes me tired thinking about it. But I just want to bring in my dear friend and definitely one of the biggest, baddest in the industry, Deb Drummond. I know you're on here this morning. Can you unmute yourself and jump on?
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for getting up. You know, you guys, I have to tell you a funny story. When I saw Deb being introduced as #1 in all 3 categories, I immediately reached out to her, but I wasn't thinking she was on Pacific time zone, and had I known I was getting her up at 7 a.m., this woman has been traveling all over the place, I might have thought twice about it. But you are such a good sport, Deb. I so appreciate you getting on here with this morning. And I'm just going to, fire off a couple questions for you, probably some questions that, the team is thinking about as well. But first of all, just tell us a little bit about who you are, kind of your background, how long you've been here, and kind of how you got started.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. And my voice is a little, we call it little Janis Joplin, because I have been talking a lot lately. And it's clearly about Neora. So good morning, and thank you for having me on, Anna. It's such an honor. And yes, it was interesting because as they were making those announcements, you were the first to check. So I was like, okay, so good on you. So my background is actually in alternative healthcare. I ran a private health studio for 25 years before Neora came into my life. And, I had 18 staff. I teach 30 different types of massage, and had spoken about, I'm an entrepreneur from the time I was 20. So I did a lot for women in business and did speaking on that and volunteering in that. But predominantly, I always say that people used to call me a hippie. Now they call me a professional, successful hippie. So I was one of those people from way back, not using bad ingredients and products. And I did formulations. I'm an aromatherapist and I'm an herbalist. So that's my background. That's my background.
Yeah, amazing. And so tell me how you got started in Neora. How did you go from that? Obviously, somebody sought you out because of our clean products, I'm sure. And how long have you been working in the business?
Well, this is really interesting. I think I always tell this story when I have the opportunity, when I'm doing a RRP or what have you, because it's very interesting. A lot of people come in. I had a woman yesterday. She's like, "Oh, I want to join, but I don't know very many people." I'm like, "Oh, girl, let me tell you what happened to me." I, of course, was working at the studio and going back and forth. And I woke up one morning and I was heading in, and I was taking a taxi into my office. And a woman had sent me a really long, when we talk about please don't puke on people, oh, this woman, I should have kept it just for that alone. It was this long email. And it had, hi, introduce herself. It said something about skincare. And then she asked for 20 minutes of my time. The platform of which she came on, the platform which she asked me that was, incredibly a very time crunching time in my life. I had 18 staff. I was a new single mom. I was coming through, the end of a marriage. I was very stressed out. I had a full client roster. I'd been doing massage for 25 years at that point. And I owned the business. I was not a person that you were going to ask for anything, but I have a soft spot in my heart for entrepreneurs because I am one. So I shot her back an email, and I'll tell you, I'm a formulator for natural products. I looked at the word skincare and thought, well, even though she was offering it to me for free, I was like, well, chances are I'm not going to use that. But she's a woman in business. So I said, come to my office at the end of the day and I'll cut you 20 minutes. I was going into the office that day to do a 6-hour massage treatment. So she said yes. So someone who I didn't know asked me, I didn't want the product. I just wanted to help another person out in business. She said yes, she showed up. And when she walked to my door, I was like, I don't know who you are. Like, how do you know me? And she said, 4 years prior, I saw you, because I used to own a gemstone company. I saw you at an event with your gemstones. My company was called Red Velvet Women's Signature Jewelry. And she liked red velvet cupcakes. She picked up my card, didn't introduce herself to me, threw it in her desk. 4 years later, she had just joined with Neora, opened her desk, my card fell on the ground, and she's a super, super shy graphic artist. And she said, what the heck? I'm just going to shoot this, this chick off an email. I, on the other side, wasn't interested in her product, but I wanted to help her. So I said yes. And she came in and started to tell me the story. I said no to her because I gave her 20 minutes. I said no. I looked at the pictures, and I teach natural health. I looked at the ingredients. I'm like, I'll get your product. If she was buying, she was selling, I don't know, gift wrap, I probably would have bought her product. But I really, I was 49 years old at the time. I looked at her product. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'll buy your product. She mentioned the business, and I said, oh, no. I'm really busy. And it had to be someone who didn't know me. And she basically said, I will back you all the way. My gut was talking. Like, I have a holistic health hat, but I also have a business hat. My gut was intrigued about what she said. I just could not see in my life how it could fit. I mean, it really wasn't, just a really nasty time in my life. And so I couldn't see it. And I brought the product home, and she gave me a bottle, and she gave me a magazine, which is why you will always see me have a magazine. The magazine closed me. I called her back and said, I'll give you 15 minutes a day and 1 hour a week, because I'm not taking my son anywhere, and you can do a presentation in my house, and we'll see how this goes. 8 weeks later, I hit senior director.
Wow. Amazing. Well, you know what I love about that story, and I think one of my big takeaways about that, Deb, is just that you guys, get out of your comfort zone and talk to somebody, because it could be the next Deb Drummond. It could be the next on a camp. It could be the next, Karen DeSantis. It could be the next, you never know who it is. And somebody took a pretty big chance, because especially as shy graphic artist, that's so unlikely, but for her to reach out to you. And, I think that things work in amazing ways, because you were at least open to listening to her and having that soft spot in your heart. But think about that. That was a very unlikely 4 years before business card in your drawer. And how many of you guys have a business card in your drawer that you haven't reached out to? So do it. Definitely reach out and do it, because you never know who's on the other end of that. So you've had a ton of success, obviously being number one in all three categories. So we want to know how you're doing it. What are you doing in terms of, like, are you following a 2-a-day process? You must have massive activity. We want to know what that is. Okay. We want to know what you're doing.
Okay. So here's the interesting thing. When I first joined, someone gave me a mathematical equation, and it came off the success CDs that we got when we first joined, back when Canada opened. And it said, if you make 2 calls a day to 2 people you don't know, 5 days a week, by the time 6 years comes, you will be a national marketing director. Now, the part that inspired me about being a national marketing director was not the car, not the trip. It wasn't even the 6-figure paycheck. It was that $50,000 bonus. There was something about getting a $50,000 bonus at the time that, I watched it go from 25 to 50. That was mind-boggling to me, that someone was going to give a $50,000 bonus. And so for me, you hear a lot of people, national marketing director, because our company put a focus on that. And I was really inspired by that. And I thought, okay, if I have to make 2 calls a day, 5 days a week for 6 years, I want it quicker. Not only did I want it quicker, I needed it quicker. I was single, looking at my future, 2 kids. I take that very seriously. I'm, planning for my future. That was a check that I wanted. And so I thought, if that's the activity in 6 years, why don't I just double my activity? It was just a really easy mathematical equation. People are like, I want an MD. I'm like, well, if it's 2 calls a day, make 4. So
Mhm.
then I was looking for venues that kind of made me go into forced activity, right? Now, my background with that gemstone jewelry is I had a company in Canada and we would do events. So the same event that that woman, Michelle, saw me at was an event that I was showing off our jewelry. So I was starting to go to events. Didn't matter if it was networking events. I'm telling you what I did in the beginning of my business, I have continued to do. So I'm not sure when people look for a secret, because it wasn't a secret then. It's not a secret now. I told Michelle, you could do a presentation in my house once a week. Once a week, you can do a presentation in my house. And I called everyone I know in my ignorance and said, this was the magic that got people to join. I have no idea about this company. All I know is that the products, I've never seen anything like it. And I have never seen numbers like this. You need to come to my place on Thursday. I didn't really, will you do me a favor? I need to know, I'm really starting this business. Because I was just like, you need to come here. You need to see this. And the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to leave with some skincare, because we only had one bottle, right? So you're going to leave with some skincare. So they're like, okay. Like they just said, okay. I wasn't twisting arms, So for me, I was like, I have to get this in front of the most people that I can at any given time, which is why people love social media so much. Most of you that know my story know that I like to do networking events, or I like to host wine and wrinkles parties in my home every time that I'm home. I mean, I hosted in my house 1 to 2 a week, so much in the beginning of my business. I'm talking years in the beginning of my business. I just planned 2 more, one for the end of November, one for December. I'm like, I'm having a wine and wrinkles party to my team. Like I still do this, like 5.5 years later. But there was so many RRPs in my home. My son said to me, I will never eat hummus again. It's like, anybody else, I will never eat it again. And honestly, he stopped eating it. So I just knew that I had to get in front of more people at the same time, because when I said I gave her 15 minutes a day, God's truth, I gave her 15 minutes a day. And what I did in that 15 minutes is I called and I texted everyone that I knew, and I didn't worry about asking my friends and family. Those were the people I called first because I loved them. I wanted them to be at the top of my organization, right? I'm like, what's the worst that's going to happen here? So I went on a gut feeling. I didn't have the numbers that we have now. I didn't have an instant eye serum. I had a product in a company from the US. I didn't even know this woman, right? So I think that I just jumped in, and I continue to jump in. So I
Mhm.
get myself in front of people. If it's a networking group, then you can talk to 5 people at once.
Mhm.
And if people couldn't make it to the event, I never relied on my events. I was willing to do a sit down, but here's the thing, I didn't have time. So the woman who sponsored me, her name was Michelle. She's like, if you can't make the sit down, I'll make it for you. I'm like, oh, and as an entrepreneur, I never had anyone help me in my business unless I paid them, ever. So that was a really foreign feeling for me. When you're talking to an entrepreneur and they're like, I don't have time, I'm going to tell you something. They don't. So find a way to make it easy. For me, she said, I'll help you. And she actually talked to people for me. I was like, I was blown away. So
Yeah.
that's just really getting in front of as many people as you can. Because here's the thing, when you sign yourself up to go to a networking group, or you commit to going to an RRP, or you ask someone to fill their house for you and you're going to bring the wine, right? Tell them, you bring the wrinkles, I'll bring the wine. Like if I have to bring the food, if I have to give them a free gift, whatever I have to do, I don't care. I'm building a future business, not a now business. So if it costs me money now, I'm okay with that. But if you get yourself in front of people, it's called, for me, how do I do it? It's forced activity, right? I drove 6 hours, 9.5 hours down to go do an event with 3 of my team members. I just got back Sunday night. It took 6 hours to get home, and we forced ourselves to do activities on Saturday and Sunday for 8 hours. We were in front of as many people as possible. If I was at home by myself on Saturday or Sunday, I'm sure I would have flipped the laundry in there. I would have made a Thanksgiving salad, because it's Thanksgiving here. I would have done stuff that I needed to do for me. But if you get yourself away from your environment and you force yourself to activity, I'm going to go to that women's networking event, or I'm going to go to that business group meeting. I'm going to be there for 2 hours. You're not doing this stuff at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I love that, because really what that says is it's just maximum activity. And here you are 5.5 years later, you're doing the same kind of activity that I'm still doing, right? I'm still having parties in my house. I have a party next week, a week from tomorrow, in my house. And I still do it every single month, still do it, but massive activity, getting in front of a lot of people at once. So when you're going to any of these networking groups, or any of the things where you're putting yourself out in front of a lot of people, whether it be being invited to a party or whatever it is, and saying yes to all of these things, what are you saying to people? Like, talk us through, how are you meeting people at these events? Are you just walking up to people, or what are you saying, and how are you continuing that conversation?
Okay, so this is where it gets a little tricky to learn, because I get a little more intuitive, and there's some things that I do. I'll share them with you, but just keep in mind that everything's a little bit it can be a little different depending on who you're talking to, right? So I never talk first. Never talk first. I'm like, hi. They're like, hi. So let's say I'm meeting you, and I say, so hey, Anna. Hi, Anna. I'm Deb. And you're going to say, hi, I'm Anna. And I'm like, awesome. I'm going to like, so what do you do? Because people love to talk about themselves. I'm not saying that people are egocentric, but they're there to talk about their business. So they're dying. I'm like, so what do you do? And they tell me all about them. So what that does is it downloads, da 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 da. I'm listening to what they're saying. They no longer have the need to wait till I'm finished talking so they can talk. Sorry, that's just what people do. They're like, okay, yeah, okay, you do that, yeah, you're a realtor, that's awesome, okay. And then I'm waiting so I can talk. So just let them empty the vessel. So they talk, and then they're like, so what do you do? Now, in the beginning days when I had my studio and I did this business, I said two things. I said, I own a holistic health practice, and I distribute this amazing anti-aging skincare product from a biomedical lab in Texas. Do you like skincare? And I just go in, do you like skincare? I ask them a question. No one has ever said no. No one said no, I hate it. They might say, oh, I love this line that I'm using. I'm like, really? And I listen to it a bit, and I'm like, so check this out. Hang on, just check this out. I've got a picture of my girlfriend. I've got a picture of someone who's in business with me, not, I've got a picture of someone that uses our product. I've got a picture who's in business with me. So, and then I show a picture, right? I talked about this on stage, and when their face drops, I just offer them some. I'm like, would you like some? I've got some. My samples are coming in this week. Give me your card. Like, okay. And honestly, I will leave it there unless the conversation allows me to go deeper and deeper and deeper. So when I talked on stage about leading with the company, I mentioned the company. I'm like, oh, there's this biomedical lab, or now Signum Biosciences. They're amazing. I don't know if you've heard of them before. It's a father and son team. Phenomenal. And I talk a little bit about the company to kind of validate that I'm going to be showing them a product that's different than everything else. So I remember one incident. There was, I was at a very astute business event, and I was talking to this gentleman who's like, I don't know, $1 billion businesses all over Europe. And I'm like, do you know Princeton University? I go, yeah. I go, he goes, what do you do? I said, I distribute a brain product for them. He goes, you do what? I said, oh yeah, I distribute a brain product for Princeton University. Signum Biosciences, actually, it's a father and son team. Have you heard of Princeton? I was being a little, he's like, yes. He goes, can you just hang on a sec? I said, sure. He got his friend, he brought over, and he goes, can you tell him what you just told me? And I'm like, sure. He goes, you're not going to believe what she does. This man was like a billionaire. And so I just talked that conversation. I go, would you like some? Cause I'm like, I'm sure you must work out that brain of yours. I'm happy to give you some. He's like, oh my God, really? I'm like, yeah, of course. Give me your card. You give me your card. Give me your card. I think once you become really comfortable with the products, you guys. So people are like, how do you get so many customers? I know our products. I do my due diligence. I use every single product we have, every single one. I'm on every single one. I can talk about my experience with every single one. And so I can talk to it. If I don't know the ingredients, if I don't know this, in the beginning, I used our videos. I put my videos on the phone. And if I was talking brain health with this gentleman, which don't think I wasn't nervous, by the way, don't think I wasn't nervous. So I was nervous. And so I just used the video, and I'll do that at a networking event. We have 2-minute videos. I'm like, oh God, check this out. Do you want to have a better brain? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, hang on, watch this. Come over to the table, and I'll put my phone on the table, and I'll hit the 2-minute video, and I'll let Jeffrey Maxwell Stock do my business for me. And then all I have to say is, do you want some? So, yeah.
That's actually my favorite part. Do you want some?
Do you want some?
I'm happy. Hey, do you want some?
Yeah.
Who says no to that? I love that, and I love the casual approach that you have when you're talking to them. It isn't any big deal. It's just in passing. And the most important takeaway there, guys, is you get their information. Mm-hmm. And I always say the product, the skincare, the do you want some, that's the bait to get the card, right? So everybody wants some, everybody's willing to just give you their card. They do. And then comes the follow-up. So now how do you do the follow-up?
So now I do the follow-up. So here's the thing. I'm really, I'm attached, you know, I take every customer, like I want that sale just like you guys do. I want the brand partner just like you guys do. I'm detached, but engaged. I'm detached, but I'm invested. I'm going to go all the way for an order of EHT, all the way. So I don't differentiate. I don't judge. I don't care if someone works at Walmart, because I signed someone that worked, I signed a Walmart greeter. I don't care if I sign this dude. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. For me, that's not everybody's business. That's my business. That's just my philosophy in life. So, what I do in terms of the follow-up is speed. Look, if I'm doing business and I've talked to somebody on Thursday and they call me 2 weeks from now, I instantly have an impression. I mean, call me judgmental, but this is how people think. They will judge you on your behavior. Now, I'm not over anxious and I don't call them 10 times the next day. There has to be a rhythm and a grace, right? But I let them set the pace of the grace. I do my job. I be a professional. I call them the next day and say, thank you. It was very nice to meet you. I really enjoyed blah, 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 whatever they told me, because I shut up and let them talk. So I was really impressed. Wow, congratulations on your success. I do that and I go, as promised, here's the videos that I said I'd send. As promised, here's the information that I said that I'd send. As promised, there's a box of EHT heading to your office as we speak. Don't use it until we've had a conversation. I want to make sure that it arrived, and I want to know that that you're going to be using it properly. Or I'm going to pop down, or you know, if they're here or they're not here, or what have you, right? It's different in Canada with the whole sample system. So I might be putting something in the mail. So I follow up promptly, sometimes the same day, never past the next day, no matter how tired I am. I mean, you guys can hear my voice. Yesterday morning, I was up on my Thanksgiving when people are like, hey, turkey, dresses, no, make sure the kids, I took time up. I got up an hour early to thank the people that I had met when I was away, because I was in the US. It's not your Thanksgiving. There's not going to be any grace there. And then I went off to Turkey land. So I always call and thank. That will buy you time. I mean, look I was building my business 15 minutes a day. So it will buy you time. It will buy you time if you just call and say thank you, or just send a text and use as promised. And then I let them set the pace. So there's a woman I talked to yesterday. She's like, man, I'm super busy. And I'm like, awesome. I've got something on Thursday morning I'd love for you to pop into. It's 35 minutes. Honestly, it's going to be the best decision maker for you. I go, it's not a sales presentation. It's an information session, and you have questions and I want you to get them. And we can take it from there. I take the pressure off. I'm like, we can take it from there. Mm-hmm. So I just get them to the next process, and I keep a pipeline of where people are at. And then you're going to need a good organizational system, but does that help?
That's awesome. What is your organizational system?
Oh, you know what, Anna, I'll just give you guys a gift. So there's a woman who, so I was part of the Direct Selling Women's Association back in the day of my jewelry company. And there was a woman there, and her name is Rowena List. And she was the top 10 for Mary Kay from the time she was about 19 years old. She's not with them in the same capacity anymore because she went off and branched into her own company. She used to sit in front of the phone book and call people. Okay. 19 years old, using a phone book to call. She created a system just for the Direct Selling Association, or just for people that are in direct sales. It's called a 1 to 31. It incorporates your life, your business. It has saved my life. I actually had her come on and do a presentation to my whole team not too long ago. And so if you contact Rowena List from gettingittogether.ca and say that you are a friend of mine, so you can give this to your whole team, she will give you a free half-hour session. I live my life by that woman's system.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I love it because we know that the follow-up, that's where the fortune is. And that's not just a cliche. That is a real thing. And I love, obviously, you are having a ton of success because of the professionalism with which you build your business. And so being a professional entrepreneur, you can treat it like a hobby or you can treat it like a business. And you clearly are having the success you have because you treat it like a business. Lastly, just do you have any closing great tips for the brand partners that are listening in, like what you would tell them right now in this business, maybe between now and the end of the year, and what you would want to impart on us all?
Yep. So first I want to say, because sometimes when people have numbers like me, it seems, I don't know, elusive or something. I want to tell you guys, I lost more sales than I've gotten. I've lost more sales than I've gotten. This is a numbers game. I sucked until I didn't. I lost brand partners until I couldn't. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say. And we were over here in Canada. You know, sometimes we call ourselves your poor cousins. I'm sure there are Canadians on there now, and it's different now, but we didn't have the same resources. So look at, I lost more sales. This last weekend, I asked people for more sales than I got, right? So what I can say is that I didn't come out of the gate this way. I just didn't. I did massage 10 hours to 12 hours a day in candlelight and meditation music. I didn't talk like this. I just didn't. So I think if I could say anything, I'd say be yourself in your business. Be the best version of you. This morning before I got up, and yes, it's a little early to put some makeup on my face, but I went in to listen to some country music because for me, that just gives me a good feeling in the morning. And then I listened to a Swami on YouTube talk about your environment is the most important decision that you can make, the people you surround yourself with. I mindset myself every day. I mindset myself because I'm human. And you know, my son could have said something at Thanksgiving yesterday that upset me. He didn't. He's a doll. But I'm just saying that anything can take you out. Anything. It's the small things that will. So I prep myself. And I'll tell you, this from now to the end of the year, this is prime time. This is the time that my business is the busiest. This is the time that your business can be the busiest. People are looking to purchase. They're preparing their credit card. They're talking about Christmas. You have an amazing season coming upon us that people, and look at the products that we have. So ask people, have you done all your Christmas shopping yet? If not, do it with me. Mm-hmm. Have you done all your Christmas shopping yet? No? Hey, do it with me. Who do you have on your list that I can help you with? But we are running for trip. And you know, I didn't get it. In the beginning, I didn't get it. Okay, it's a trip to Mexico. I don't know if you've been to Vancouver, but a lot of people go to Mexico. I was like, well, Mexico? They're like, yeah, the people that you meet, how it's going to move your business, how you're going to grab those gemstone conversations. That's what I went for. That's why I was running for trip, because I wanted to learn from people that had earned trip and were at the top of the company, what it is that they did, so I could duplicate themselves. I mean, I don't know if you guys listen to Tony Robbins at all, but you know, he's a really big one on look at what someone's doing and follow what they're doing. You don't have to carve a new path, right? You don't have a carve a new path. Watch and listen to what they're doing. So I went to go hear what people were saying and what they were doing. This is your prime time. This is after summer. People are here. People are ready. And I'm super excited about what these next couple of months will do for our business. I'm watching this whole company change. With someone who's watched it in the beginning, something has shifted. Something has really shifted. And honestly, I feel like the shift that just happened in the last maybe 4, 5, or 6 weeks has been astronomical. honestly, in the growth of people, in the ease of the business, there isn't anything that you can't access. I just, there is no one I know, and honestly, again, God's truth, and I'm a God person, there isn't anyone I know, and you're talking from a health practitioner that studied the brain for 12 years. There isn't anyone I know that cannot use or doesn't need one of our nutraceuticals at the very least. At the very least, everyone. So everyone can use one of these products. And don't be afraid to be uber confident and uber confident in that. I'm like, you need this product. And someone's like, oh, I think my mom needs EHT. I'm like, you need EHT. You need EHT. Think preventative. My 11-year-old son got on EHT, and I'm a brain health person. So all I can tell you is just really learn your products, be super confident, get on them, and sell them like no tomorrow, because you're doing people a favor. They're not doing you one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. So much of that is mindset. You have been just a wealth of knowledge. I so appreciate you coming on here today. And mostly, what I want to say is, you guys, it's obviously that she takes her business seriously. It's obviously that she works her business professionally. It's obvious that she's a product of the product. And she definitely is really been a wealth of knowledge this morning. So Deb, you are amazing. I cannot thank you enough for being here. In wrapping up, I do want to tell you guys that there is something big coming next month, and it is for customers and brand partners that are existing. So if you can't do this for the trip volume, dang it, do it for next month, because you're going to want to have as many new customers and as many new brand partners as humanly possible. So go out there, make today the best day in your whole life. Until next week, and all that you do, show up and be fabulous. Thanks again, Deb.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
so much.
Hey, say hi to me on the trip.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Say hi to me on the trip.
Thank you.